It's time to go back to Hogwarts and unstuff my TBR and catch up on my series. Hi friends, welcome back to Pages and Chaos. And yes, you heard that right. There are 3 different things that I am using to plan my pile of possibilities for the month of September. I don't know what I'm thinking because it's also back to work. So we're just going to go through and see what I can get done and what I get off of my pile of possibilities. So first up, as always, is Series September. This I never miss. I don't even know how many years this readathon has been going on, but this is run by Krista at Books and Jams and Sarah at Sarah's Nightstand, and they always create a bingo board. So I have a whole bunch of series that I am going to catch up on. But before I get into the books that I'm choosing from that, I am actually going to line them up with the prompts that I get for Back to Hogwarts. This is the second year that I am participating in Back to Hogwarts. It is run by Cheryl at Candlewick Library. She also has a whole bunch of co-hosts, so I will make sure to link them down below because each one of them is in charge of a different house. And this year she decided to do a game board. So we have to make our way through Hogwarts on the Marauders map, and each little room or different like person or animal that we hit is a different prompt. And we can play all the way through the board if we want, or we can do 3 prompts and make it into the headmaster's office, which is the final goal. There's a whole bunch of fun things. So I am going to roll to see what I get, and I'm going to line up whatever books I can get from that with my series September. But it is also an Unstuff Your TBR month, and this is something that I have been doing with Becky at Bex Reads, Lisa at Babe in the Library, and Monica at Pardon This Book Addict. And every other month we have a theme, and we try to get as many books off of our TBR as possible based off of that theme. And this is actually really good because all 3 of these things that I'm doing overlap, because this theme is academia or academics, and I actually got to choose this month. And I thought of, hey, September, back to school. But it doesn't necessarily have to be so literal. I was thinking like, yeah, it could take place in a school, whether it's a magical school, a college, or, you know, if you're somebody that likes middle grade, something like that. Or it could be something to do with like the subjects, right? So if you like, for example, Allie Hazelwood, who I know writes a lot of STEM books, you can do that because you got science right there and math, or historical fiction, that would cover your history class. You know, or if there's like a professor or a teacher in the book, or something to do with, in your mind, academia. And again, it could be magical, it could be otherwise. It could be something like notebooks and pens on the cover. It has to be up to your interpretation, but I think it's going to work out perfectly because all 3 of these things that I am planning, I can overlap. But there's one more thing that I forgot. The end of September is also the BookTube Besties virtual retreat. I have been doing this every single year. They try to do one in the winter and one in the summer, but this time they had to push it back a little bit till September, and it's all based on back to school. And they did bring back 2 buddy reads. We could do both, or, you know, one or the other, or none, but they are both based on academia. So we kind of have like a light academia or a dark academia. I do plan on trying to read at least one of them, so I'll go over them. And actually, I think it will fit some of the prompts somewhere on maybe not my series, but it will definitely fit my Back to Hogwarts prompt if I choose to do it. Let's start off with Back to Hogwarts. Let's do some rolls and see what I get and pick books from there and line them up with my series September. Okay, so I have here all of the prompts and the instructions for how to play, and the hosts are all down here. So you have Cheryl at Candlewick Library, Lucy at the Lucy Chronicles, Christy at Christy Cole, and Molly at Molly J Books, Alma at Alma's Book Journal. And these are all of your hosts, and each one of them will be representing one of the houses. Okay, so we have all of the houses there. So I'm going to put that there. I have my prompts that I'm going to write down here as I roll through. I have my pen, I have my dice, and I am going to use the buckbeat here for my moving around the board. Okay, and we're going to place them in Ravenclaw Tower because I am a Ravenclaw. So the first 2 prompts that we have to start off with is opening the map, and then Ravenclaw, which is to read a Shakespeare play. So let's do our first roll. Okay, and our first roll is a 3. So with my 3, I think I'm going to make my way out this way. Okay, and we're going to go with 1, 2,
All right, and then 3, which is here, which is the one-eyed witch. Okay, and one-eyed witch will immediately take me to the passageway to the basement of Honeydukes. Okay, so now we're going to come back here, and then we're going to do another roll. So we have here a 5, and I think I'm going to head down this way. Okay, so you can go into the rooms and then pass them. So I am going to go down to the library. So I got 1, 2, so I'm just going to write down library, and then we'll go down 3, 4, 5, which is the boggart. Okay, so we have a 4. I think I'm going to try to make my way out. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 3, so we got 1, 2, and 3. And I don't know if I want to go down Crookshanks to Walkman Willow or to Hagrid's hut. So let's see what we roll and then see what I can get. So I got a 2, so that would actually take me right to Hagrid's hut. So we'll go there. 2. I think I'm going to make my way back in. Okay, so we got 1 and 2. All right, we got a 6. So we got 1, 2, a Dementor. Okay, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We got a Dobby and 4. Okay, so we're going to head back to the headmaster's office. Now, I don't need to do the Dementor again because it is going to take me past the Dementor. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we got another 4. I think I'm going to go into the room of requirement. 1, 2, and it's going to take me right out. 3 and 4. Okay. All right, and now that's it. My last roll is going to take me into the finish line, which is a 6, but obviously I am not going to go any more than that. So we got 1, 2. I'm just going to add in the headmaster's office. So we have here the cockroach cluster, and then finally the pensieve in the headmaster's office. And there you have it. That is my list of pile of possibilities. Now, I am hoping every single one of these will line up with my series September list.
Okay, so I have got my books here from playing the game, so I'm going to go through them quickly and let you know what books I'm reading for each one of the prompts, but also which one of these books will line up with my series September. And in the interest of trying to not make this video too much longer, I'm just going to go through them quickly and give you very quickly what they are about without going into too much detail. First up is the opening of the map book, and that is to read a book that contains something hidden because the map is hidden. So I have to say, I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. And for that, I am going to read Dance of Thieves. This is a duology. This has been on my TBR for a long time. This is by Mary E. Pearson, and I loved the Remnant Chronicles, so I decided to pick this one up. This one says, a formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations, a son destined to lead thrust suddenly into power, 3 fierce young women of the Rattan, the Queen's premier guard, a legendary thief leading a mission determined to prove herself, and a dark secret that is a threat to the entire continent. For series September, each one of these is actually based off of a movie that fits with the theme, and this is going to fit The Mummy because this is a book that has been on my TBR for a long time. Next up, for the Ravenclaw prompt, because I am choosing Ravenclaw, that is my house, I have to read a Shakespeare play. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Shakespeare, but I am going to attempt to read A Midsummer Night's Dream just because that sounds very interesting, because it's not a love triangle, it's a love square and a crisscross, and I don't know, but anyway, that sounds fun and interesting, so I just hope that it is going to be as interesting as I think it is. So next up was the one-eyed witch statue, which would also take me to Hogsmeade. So this spell to open this passageway at the statue is Descendium, which is a book with a big reveal. For that prompt, I am going to read Oathbound, which is the 3rd book in the Legendborn series, and I'm not really going to say too much about this because it'll be spoilers for book 1 and 2, but let's just say there is a lot of big reveals from the first book, the second book. I'm hoping the third one's going to be no different, just based off of where the second one left off. And this is about Bree, who is going to this program at this college, same one that her mother went to, and she comes across a whole bunch of secrets, and she actually finds out what really happened to her mother and how she died. She comes across a secret society that has a lot to do with her heritage and her history, and this is based off of King Arthur's Legends, which I loved so much. This also is going to fit the Back to the Future series September prompt, because for that one we had to read a book with a time travel element, and while this isn't exactly time travel in the very sci-fi conventional way, there is time travel, so to say, in this series. So I'm gonna count it. So once I made my way down the passageway into the cellar at Honeyduke's, that prompt brought me to read a book with something sweet on the cover or in the title, or just something sweet in the book. So for that, I'm gonna read this cozy fantasy, and this is Tusks, Tales, and Tea Cakes. And this is about a half-elf and a former burglar dwarf who decide to stop their life of crime and restore a rundown tavern. And as you could see, there's cookies and cinnamon buns and pies and so many sweet things on here. This is also going to fit series September, and it's going to be Ocean's 11, which is to read a series featuring a group or a found family. And in the description, it says that this is a heartwarming tale of found family. So perfect fit. Next, I made my way into the library, and of course I have to read a book that's about books or has books on the cover or something about books. And for that, I am going to read the next book in the Pages & Co series. This is a middle grade book, Book Smugglers, and this is about Tilly and her friend Oscar, who are book wanderers, meaning they go in and out of books, and they have been in each one of these books on a mission to save book traveling and book wandering from a whole bunch of different enemies and people trying to stop it. And it has just been such an adorable and heartwarming series. So I'm excited to continue this one. And as you could see, there are books on the covers, but this one I am excited to read because this one is going to be about wandering through one of my favorite books, and that is The Wizard of Oz. So that's going to be very interesting. This also fits the never-ending story prompt for series September, because that is to read a book in a series that has 5 or more. And this definitely has at least 5. I don't know if any more is coming out, but there we go. Next, I hit the boggart in the cupboard, and it says, you must say the spell ridiculous and read a funny book. So I'm going with another middle grade book here, and that is the 3rd book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. And this one is The Titan's Curse. So this is a series that I probably should have read when I was much younger. Never have. So I'm excited to be reading this now and getting into this. This is about Percy Jackson, who by the time we get to this book, he's on a mission to save Camp Half-Blood, which is a camp for all of these kids of the gods and humans. So they're half god, half human. They're demigods. And so Percy Jackson has just came across a prophecy, and he is going to continue to try to solve this prophecy and fulfill it and try to fight against the enemies. I think in this one, Cronus comes into play, I believe. If not this one, I believe it's the next one. But anyway, again, not going to say too much about things that are happening because it's going to be spoilers for the first few books. For series September, this is going to fit Groundhog's Day, because that prompt is to read 2 books in a series, and I am going to read book 4 as well. But I'm going to read something else before I get there, probably because of the Hogwarts prompts. Next is Hagrid's Hut, and that is to read a book at a cozy location. So of course I had to pick up book 3 in the Spell Shop series, and this is Sea of Charms by Sarah Beth Durst. I'm absolutely in love with this series. Thankfully, these series do not have to be read in order. They are all companion series. They can serve as standalones, but I absolutely adore this series. And this definitely takes place in a cozy location. I mean, look at that cover, and it's just such a cozy world. But this one is about Marion, who is a supply runner from different islands, and she lives on her ship, but she comes across on one of her supply runs a revolution where one of her best friends, Dax, is actually like in the line of fire here. So she is going to try to help them in the village at this island and help him as well. Now, even though this isn't a series, I'm actually not reading it for specific prompts for series September. Next, I came across a Dementor, and for that prompt, I have to perform the Patronus charm to get rid of the Dementor, Expecto Patronum, a book that makes you happy. And I am picking yet another middle grade, and that is the Vanderbeekers Lost and Found. This is book 4 in the series. And this series follows the Vanderbeekers who live on 141st Street, and these children are getting into all types of trouble and also trying to save the day. So in this one, they're helping their neighbor, Mr. Biederman, get ready for the New York Marathon, and also helping the mysterious person sleeping in the community garden get enough to eat. And I just love this. This book makes me so happy. This series makes me so happy. I love all these children. I love the adventures that they get up to, and I can't wait to pick this one up as well. This also fits the Toy Story prompt for series September, because that prompt is to read a book that is a favorite in a series that we just love coming back to. Next, I came into contact with Dobby. So for that, I have to read a book with a helper or elf-like character. And for that, I am going to read the 4th book in the Percy Jackson series. And this one is The Battle of the Labyrinth. And this one would fit the prompt because of the character Grover, that is basically this creature that is trying to help Percy on all of his adventures, and he's like his guide but also his helper, so I think it's gonna fit. And of course, it's also going to be the 2nd book for the Groundhog's Day prompt in series September. The next prompt was The Room of Requirement, and this one is to read a book that mentions something from another book. So this could be something like a book that has other books in it, or somebody that's reading a book, or it could actually be a book in a series that's like next in a series, because of course it's going to mention things that happened in the book before. So for this one, I am going to pick book 2 in Emily Wilde series, and that is The Map of Otherlanders. And this is about Emily Wilde, who is a scholar, and for her university, she is writing this encyclopedia and all of these resources about the fairies that she comes in contact with in, what is it called? The Secrets of the Otherworld, I think. And I cannot wait for this one. I loved the first one so much. As you can see, guys, I'm clearly on like a cozy fantasy kick right now, so this is going to be perfect. This is also going to count, in my opinion, or I'm going to count it, for the Devil Wears Prada prompt in series September, because that is to read a book that is set around a job or is set in a workplace. And because Emily Wilde's whole purpose for doing this research and writing these encyclopedias and apparently this maps and things like that is because that's part of her job for the university. So I think it counts. So now I've made my way up to the headmaster's office because I have gotten enough books on my TBR, and that was the first stop is The Cockroach Cluster, which is a less hyped book. For this one, I am going to read A Letter to the Luminous Deep. This, in my opinion, is not a hyped book at all, because first of all, I found this one completely by random one day at Barnes & Noble when I was just looking through all of the different shelves, and this just sounds very interesting. This is listed as a magical academia book, so I'm also going to read this probably for Unstuff Your TBR vlog, but this is all written in letters. So this is about E, who is living underwater, and she has all of these like creatures around her, and she starts writing letters to Henry Clell or Slell. I'm not exactly sure how to say it. If I listen on some audio, I'll get the proper pronunciations. And they're just all these letters about the things that they're interested in and this, blooming love story. But then one day something happens to them. So M's sister and Henry's brother now have to piece the letters together to find out this mystery. So definitely less hyped book. I haven't really seen this one on social media, like maybe once or twice on some cozy fantasy recs on like some Instagram stuff, but I haven't really seen this one anywhere. So I think this is just going to hopefully be such a lovely book. And if you like a book that is written in letters, this might be an interesting one for you as well. And this is not going to fit any of my specific prompts for series September. Now the last prompt for Back to Hogwarts is The Pensieve Now in Dumbledore's Office. And this is a book with a flashback, memory, or a part of the book that takes place in an earlier time. And I'm actually going to read a book, and this is also going to be a book that counts for series September. This is going to count for the Harry Potter prompt for series September, which is to start a series with a young protagonist. So for both of these prompts, I am going to read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but I have a problem because I have multiple versions. Aside from, as you can see over there, my original versions, which are all beat up and things that I read when I was a kid, I actually have this interactive book, illustrated, Mina Lima, so it's got like the pop-ups and things like that, and it just looks like such a great illustrated book and edition. So I don't know if I'm gonna read this one, or I actually have the house editions, and because I'm a Ravenclaw, I have the Ravenclaw ones, but I actually just realized this now, that this one is Harry Potter, I don't know if you could see it, but Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is the original title before they changed it to the Sorcerer's Stone for the American books. So I'm curious if this actually is the Philosopher's Stone with all of the language and stuff like that from the original books. So this one is just like the actual story without any elements, but because it is the house editions, there are some like things in the beginning about like the house, you know, like the house ghost and the house relic and the maps and things like that. So I don't know which version I'm gonna read. I also do have the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone from the 25th anniversary edition. This was actually something I won from, I think, one of the BookTube Besties giveaways, because one of the things was that we can get a book from one of the bookstores, you know, the big bookstore in England. And so I wanted this one, but this was also the original, when they were first released, the original art on the cover. So I'm actually curious to see if this, I'll read a little bit, is the same actual language as my Ravenclaw edition, but it does have, again, some things in it. So I don't know which edition I'm gonna read. But this is also interesting because we are doing another like buddy read of a series with Sarah and Krista. We did this with the Ember and the Ashes series, and each month we read one book in the series. So they are doing a reread of Harry Potter, which is perfect because I haven't done a reread in a long time. So I'm excited for that. Now I do have one more book that I am reading. So now that I am done with Hogwarts, I do have one more prompt left for series September, and that is going to be The Empire Strikes Back, which is to read the second book in a series. So for that, I am going to read The Things Gods Break, which is the second book after the games gods play, and this is a retelling or a reimagining of Hades and who he is. And in this book, we are in the underworld with Hades and Lyra, or Lyra, I forget exactly how to say her name. Not going to say too much about this because, again, second in a series, it's going to be a spoiler. But in the first book, the gods all pick humans to compete with each other in these games and to basically have like control for when whoever's human like wins and things like that. So for the first time in a long time, Hades picks somebody and participates, and now this is the second book after that situation. Well, that is my very long pile of possibilities. Thank you for sticking with me through all of this. I do have one more book that I might read for the BookTube Besties retreat at the end of the month. I'm just not sure which one I'm gonna read, if it's gonna be the Light Academia or Dark Academia book, so I'm not quite sure about that yet, but that will be decided when we get closer. So thank you for sticking around. And if you've read any of these books, please let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts. Are you participating in Back to Hogwarts or Series September? Are you going to be at the BookTube Besties retreats? I'd love to hear what you're reading for all of these as well. And if you just want to let me know that you're here, but you're a little too shy to comment, then just leave me a stack of books down in the comments for the big stack of books that I have and maybe you have for the month of September. Well, that's all I have for now. Bye!